The Rose Garden. The Rose of Babylon, the Egyptian Order of the Rosy Cross, the Holy Rosary of the Vatican, the London Rose, all of which lead to the White House and the Rose Bush family and their famous Rose Garden. It doesn't end there, however. The rose continues within the Qing dynasty and ultimately to the Pacific Ocean that rose, and is rising for the final calamity. These chosen people of Babylon became known as God's chosen people and, through a series of mythical maneuverings throughout these illusory ages, with countless conjured-up God stories, the ultimate favored nation of the Luciferian Lord became known as the Israelites. Remember though, it was only the rulers of the empire who laid claim to the divine right to rule. They in turn adopted a group, common Babylonians, to manipulate via the sharing of Kabbalistic knowledge. Thus the shaman, priest was anointed and religion was established. Even today, many Jewish people still practice Kabbalism as part of their faith. However, it's not only in Judaism that one sees the Kabbalistic principles applied. Kabbalism is sun god or light worship. Christianity is also Kabbalism, as is Islam and every form of religion in the world, including atheism. Different names, rituals and holy days have been applied, but the worship of a supreme being, the light, is the ultimate dogma. That supreme being is the light bringer, Luciferian egregore, the conjuring group creator, who in turn are the Kabbalistic group of thinking entities. Dogma equals God Mother. As the centuries slid by, Kabbalism was employed by many other groups. Eventually it was passed into the hands of the Christian Roman Catholic Church and the Society of Jesuits. The Knights Templar, the Christian Crusaders, also laid claim to this knowledge around 1000 AD, which morphed into the secret society of Freemasonry as well as other secret societies today. The mystic knowledge is passed on to whomever is appointed to further the Luciferian agenda, which agenda is the intellectual learned knowledge of the three-dimensional illusion. Learned knowledge is Kabbalistic mind control through hypnotic repetitious indoctrination, be it religious or scientific in its makeup. Arab world equals Abraham's world equals sacrifice. The following chart portrays the sum of the symbolic connection from ancient Babylon to present-day Freemasonry. The rulers of the globalist empires have intermarried since the beginning of human history. In this way, the limited Kabbalistic information given to the elite is certain to be maintained through the notion that blood runs thicker than water. In other words, the information given to the elite of the world, though limited, was to be kept as a sacred family heirloom. For instance, the royal families of Europe, who really are all one family, strictly intermarry, and will shun any family member who marries a commoner with no royal ancestry. This is the Luciferian-inspired elitist bloodline, with the alleged divine right to rule. These are the chosen people of God, in their own eyes, as stated in the New Testament, which is the next stage of the agenda. This race of God's chosen people, the Jews, is emboldened through the Christian religion. The Christians, in turn, claim to be the chosen people by choosing to be supporters of the chosen people. If this sounds convoluted, it's meant to be. Christianity is but an extension of the Old Testament of God's chosen people. The free world can now partake in the ignorance of accepting the Jesus myth. Even though there have been dozens of messiahs prior to Jesus, and they all happened to be born on December 25th. Most of them were crucified and resurrected on the third day. All were born of a virgin, etc. The Jewish, Christian connection then enjoined with the creation of Islam in the early 7th century AD. This brought together the three major players, collectively known as the children of Abraham, or the children of human sacrifice, who form approximately half of the world population, and this site will reveal completely the Luciferian, Illuminati agenda entrusted to conquer our connection to reality through this Kabbalistic group entity, going back to ancient Babylon and the Arab world, the Abrahamic world, and the cradle of the illusory three-dimensional experience. Destroying the gods of thought, Thoth. At this time, be aware that what we're dealing with, as pertaining to the Luciferian, Illuminati agenda, is not flesh and blood human beings. What's being described on this site are the entities that have conjured up this total 3D illusion, through the thought process, and everything we see is a thought form. Who we really are, is not the illusory body of humanity numbering in the billions. We are that formless thing called wisdom, and we are the ultimate expression of being that the Luciferian three-dimensional illusion was designed to separate us from. Separation from that wisdom, brings us into total control under their intellectually based systems of science and religion. We're in a war with the mythical gods of old, the illusory thinkers, who attack us through the fabricated minds we're certain are our minds. Yet, these minds that we use to contemplate all things three-dimensional, are their minds, fabricated to receive the thought patterns meant to disconnect us from the powerful stillness and knowing of the eternal paradise state, which is who we are. Winning this war is totally doable. The luciferian egregore group of thinkers have absolutely no power, but what we give them is we consign our reality-based wisdom state over to their thought process and the hypnotic effect it creates and then manifests as the three-dimensional life experience. What we accept and believe within this thought process is what our illusory reality appears to be. As we disconnect from this emotional validation of everything 3D, which doesn't mean we try to stop doing things in the three-dimensional plane, we reconnect to our original eternal state of knowing all things. Whether we do certain things, or not, in the 3D sense, is irrelevant, as all things 3D are just illusions, and one has no more value than the other. There is no good or bad, right or wrong, up or down, or black or white. The three-dimensional plane is just an illusion of electrons, protons and neutrons buzzing around at breakneck speed, creating the illusion of matter, time and space. There is no such thing as matter. No such thing as time. And no such thing as space. Becoming aware of this, is the catalyst to breaking the trance state, terminating hypnotic control of our reality, and reconnecting to the eternal paradise state, the state of power which we've never left, but have only become disconnected from awareness of that state because of the veil called this three-dimensional life experience. The very form we exist in, within this three-dimensional illusion, the form we refer to as our physical body and mind, is the very thing keeping us disconnected from paradise. The only thing that needs to be accomplished to reconnect to paradise, is to become aware of this realization that everything is an illusory subliminal hypnotic suggestion, entirely designed to misdirect who we really are, with sinister controlling intent, directing us away from our power and strength, and away from our eternal reality state of wisdom. The Freemason religion today, with its Kabbalistic knowledge, has within its ranks, Christian clergy and priests. Many Catholics, Protestants, and basically all Christian denominations are well represented. Of note is Billy Graham, a 33rd degree Mason since 1949. Of course, the Freemason organization denies this vehemently because Billy Graham, working the magic mysteries of a secret lord, has brought millions of people to this secret society lord. And that lord, and any supreme being, is the Lucifer light-bringing group egregore God who said let there be light. This explains in part, why Mr. Graham has been the spiritual advisor to all the modern-day U.S. presidents. As will become apparent on this site, what is commonly referred to as the spirit, is itself part of the Luciferian light show, and will be shown to be nothing more than a conjured-up bit of hypnotic lunacy. Being a Freemason, Mr. Graham's philosophy matches the Luciferian agenda perfectly. Furthermore, the Billy Graham Crusades have been organized by Freemasons, and the Shriners, 32nd degree Freemasons, have participated. Shriners must pledge allegiance to Allah, hence the official name of their group, the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine. This is the significance of the Shriners' fez hats with the crescent moon and the sword. Consider the chart below, and notice that the six-pointed star is the key symbol which finds its roots in the atom symbol, which in turn is created by the electron, proton and neutron, which in turn is simply the thought process. The thought process, or intellectualism in all its forms, is the veil separating us from wisdom and not allowing us to experience our paradise state right now. We are now in that eternal paradise, however the 3D veil completely hinders us from experiencing the power and liberty of that state if we remain in the trance. We remain in the trance by rendering validity to the thought process and the three-dimensional illusion. The creation of the number system was a crucial first step to global manipulation, and for that matter, global creation. In Freemasonry, as well as in occultism, numbers are sacred. Sacred geometry is the number system presented as religion. This is the significance of the Freemasonry symbol, the compass and square. This is the six-pointed star, and is from a Christian cross, or a swastika, and basically, it includes every religious symbol within its form in one fashion or another. Freemasons are not obsessed with the construction of physical buildings, just for the sake of building a building. Freemasons, and the intellectualized world as a whole, are fulfilling the agenda of the great God and architect of the universe, and to this end, apply the principles of their sacred geometry. To a Freemason, an angle is an angel. Their black and white tiled floors express the duality of the Luciferian group king. To these checkerboard patterns, they also attribute numbers forming the holy sacred cubes and the magic squares. Freemasons run the governments of the world and strive to erect landmark buildings, monuments and national parks, etc., as strategic symbols of their influence and to instill the validity of the three-dimensional realm. Not only as symbolic power, these structures act as direct subliminal hypnotic suggestion. Their agenda uses the flawed system of number and language rituals to build order out of chaos. The Freemasons relentlessly build and construct the modern-day cities on behalf of the Illuminati elitist families, who in turn are simply illusions themselves, working within, and in accordance to, the Luciferian agenda of three-dimensional construction.
Just as other millions and quadrillions of atoms are the tiny building blocks, which make up everything in the world.
Sincerely believing they are fulfilling the will of God and literally building His kingdom on earth. Without the number system there can be no global deception and manipulation. Every corruption in the world is the result of a religious or scientific system using numbers. Therefore, those desiring to control and manipulate must create some type of number system before they can proceed. The beam of light in the above chart shows a circle of 360 degrees. Supposedly this represents the number of days it takes for the Earth to orbit the Sun. However, it actually takes 365 1/4 days and a few minutes for the Earth to circle the Sun. This is the key origin of how the times and seasons have been manipulated as required, to change history according to the Illuminati agenda. Discussion of this discrepancy and its significance occurs in the following pages. Oh baby baby, baby me. The oneness of our original awareness state is evident when a baby is born. The baby recognizes nothing of its surroundings. As far as the baby is concerned, everything is still oneness, still connected to authentic awareness. Let me ask this question. When do we first begin to recognize people, things, the stars and even ourselves? If memory serves correctly, I may have had an inkling of recognition at about 2 or 3 years old. Before then not much seems to have taken place. Actually nothing did take place. The reason we can't remember seeing or hearing anything for the first year or 2, or longer, of our physical life, is because it's not really there. We start to learn the language, learn to interpret the stupidity of our brainwashed parents. I'm a parent of 5 children, so I personally know how stupid a brainwashed parent can be. Learn a number system and become indoctrinated in the seductions of the other senses, and so the 3D illusion appears real. Then we store a memory bank of events to recall. Add to this the trauma of fear, stress, anxiety and deceit over decades and we become totally hypnotized, convinced this is real. It isn't real and it never has been.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.